Now let's get it over to Sarah.
All right, thanks, Delano. Now on Bounce, while pens and paper may be on your child's back-to-school checklist, there's a bigger item that needs to be checked off, and that's an annual eye exam. So here to give you reasons to make an appointment is Dr. Thomas Coccia. He's the associate optometrist at MyEyeDr. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
School is just a week away for some people. So first, why do you recommend that students get an eye exam before going back to school?
Sure. I mean, there's lots of tools to education and getting a good education and learning tools, but our eyes are probably one of our primary sources for gathering information, and so they're pretty critical to the learning experience, I'd say. I'm sure most of your viewers are using their vision right now. So.
Right.
And absolutely, there's a lot of things that can interfere with that process, and we just kind of want to make sure it's all up to speed before they really kind of get going, and they're really relying on those tools heavily, particularly their eyes.
Right. And I remember when I was in school, I think I was about in 3rd grade when I was told I needed glasses, and I used to sit way in the back of the classroom and have to look at the chalkboard. But now kids have iPads, they have cell phones, computers. Does that play a role in?
Yeah, in different ways too. I mean, maybe even some of the devices almost hide those issues where everything used to be board work. You know, maybe a child would come and complain they can't see the board. Well, now, because there's so many devices up close, they might not complain about it quite so fast and easy, and it kind of, you know, because they can still see up close, but they can't see far away.
Right.
So it just makes it a little trickier, you know, should we be getting this checked or not? Plus, devices put a lot of strain on our vision. It really affects our focusing system and causes a lot of instability, and it can really show up in weird symptoms that aren't necessarily so easy for kids to verbalize.
Right. What are some of those symptoms?
So it's really a stability of focus most of the time when it comes to devices. So you'll do fine for a while, but kind of lose track of what you're doing. And sometimes what will happen is a kid will start to slide behind in their grades and just kind of not perform quite to the speed of other kids, because they do good for a while, but as they kind of go along, they start to lose their focus. And it's not always quite so easy to tell. So I recommend get it checked out, and pretty much any optometrist is going to be very familiar with this. So we're always looking for device-related issues.
Right. Okay, so what's a typical appointment like for students when you're looking for something like that?
Sure. Well, we have certain standard things that we do during routine vision exams, and of course a major building block of a good visual assessment is their vision clear?
Right.
So we determine, you know, would glasses just make vision clear? But that's not the only thing. So there's also eye alignment issues that can kind of come into play where your eyes aren't really pointing at the right thing at the right time. And when that happens, it's almost a stimulus to see double vision. And the brain does not like to see double vision, so it will do just about anything to avoid that, including making your vision blurry.
Right.
So we'll look for eye alignment issues and other clues that focusing might be kind of going in and out, and look for, you know, opportunities to improve performance.
Okay, and I remember glasses were not cool either when I was a kid, and now they're like the cool people have glasses without lenses in them. So you have some here.
Sure.
Tell us about what you brought with you.
These are just a line that we have, you know, being with a big company like MyEyeDr, we have people that are just dedicated to finding, you know, fashions. And
these ones are interesting.
Yeah, those are particularly interesting for today, just because probably the kids wearing that aren't really going back to school, but education starts pretty young. So sometimes, you know, even young children have eye alignment issues or severe focusing problems, and there aren't a lot of necessarily great frames for that kind of thing, but Zubug does supply that. But they also supply fashionable eyewear if they're a little bit older and really in the classroom. And again, just one of the lineups. This one's out of London, and we just feel pretty good about that. They are pretty neat, and they're actually very lightweight. I don't know if you've kind of noticed that, but the one thing about glasses is if the kid doesn't like them, it's really hard to you know, get them to wear them, and they're not really doing their job if they're not wearing them.
Right. So important topic coming up here on Monday is the Eclipse. I wanted to ask you about, just so people have a better understanding of what happens to your eye and why it's so important to wear those ISO standard glasses that are selling out fast.
Definitely. So the truth is, looking at the sun anytime is not a good idea. It's not to say that you couldn't maybe glance at it for a quick second and be okay, and normally if we were just like maybe driving towards the sun, that might happen for a quick moment, we look away. But when you have an eclipse, it's a slow process. The moon's kind of moving across the sun in a very slow format, so we have a tendency to look at it too long. Maybe we look at it too many times. So it wouldn't take long for the energy that the sun produces to actually focus down inside our eye. So I have a little eye model here. Just kind of pretend the light would be coming in the front surface of the eye.
Right.
There's lenses here that focus that light, and it focuses straight in the back part of the eye, and it essentially heats that tissue up to the point where it causes damage, and the damage is long term. So you have to have very particular eyewear, and you have to be really careful. Do your research and make sure you get exactly the right kind so that it's blocking out enough of that energy that you can safely actually look at the sun for a more extended period of time and observe that. Otherwise, we recommend don't do it. It's just not worth the risk.
Well, we want everyone to enjoy that eclipse and experience it and learn something from it. Thank you so much for being here. For more information on scheduling an appointment with My Eye Doctor, log on to WBTV.com. Look in the Web Extras section right there on the homepage. Delano, back to you.